So, we try to bring every angle here on Liquid Lunch. We hear from the doctors, we hear from the politicians, we hear from the regular people, but we're always serving it up one way. You could have it a whole bunch of ways, but on Liquid Lunch, we're always serving it up straight up. And joining me straight up again right now is Frank Morano. What's up, buddy?
Well, quite a bit, John. So the Kennedy Center has now honored George Floyd. The Senate Democrats are remembering George Floyd. And in Brooklyn today, in addition to the memorial service that's in Minneapolis, in Brooklyn, there's a special remembrance of George Floyd. And I think it's great that we remember George Floyd, who ironically, hand in hand with what we were just discussing, the autopsy apparently showed that George Floyd did have the coronavirus. So that had nothing to do with his death and doesn't make it any less tragic, but he did have the coronavirus. But in addition to remember and trying to learn from George Floyd's death and see how we can avoid future instances like that in the future, I hope we also remember as ubiquitously the tragic killing of 77-year-old retired police officer David Dorn,
Right.
who not only was murdered in the middle of the street for trying to stop people from looting, but who had the added indignity of having his death broadcast live all over the world on Facebook. Also, Patrick Underwood, the police officer who was killed in Philadelphia as a result of these riots. I mean, their deaths are no less tragic than George Floyd's death. And I hope we can remember and speak of them just as much as we're speaking of George Floyd, because, well, it may be a controversial thing to say, and I think it's more than just a hashtag. All lives do matter, including when those are lives that are taken at the hand of violent rioters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. All lives matter, but why, if the symbol of police brutality and racial inequality is going to be George Floyd, then how come it's not a 77-year-old African-American police chief from California? Because he got killed in the after effects of this, and this guy's given his whole life to keeping us safe.
Yeah, or from St. Louis or from Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm saying, but most people won't say or even know any of those names, and I guess that's the sad dichotomy of all this, Frankie.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, so I am just flipping through the lefty wing channels here, and they're talking about all day. Out of everything going on in the country, they're still focused on Trump cleared out a peaceful protest in the park to walk over. Like, that was like 3 days ago. We're still talking about him walking through the park to go to the church. And it's like the new thing. They're trying to foment up and get, these, retired military folks to come out and send, like, one of these letters where 1,000 DAs have all signed on, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, the news of the day is there's civil unrest in all the blue cities in America. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Certainly, I think if you're looking for objective journalism, maybe you might be looking somewhere else.
Yeah, and by the way, if that's going to be the symbol, and like I said, people, you don't hear this much either. In 2009, George Floyd landed in 5 years behind bars for assault and robbery. 2 years before that, he was convicted on charges of theft with a firearm to drugs.
So what? So what?
No. I'm just saying, the moment to rash out against all police brutality is a lot bigger than making one person the symbol of it. I'm down with it. I've said it a million different ways, but why can't it be a bunch of people like the cop that got killed? You know what I mean? Like, there's a big a big contrast there, and we should see all sides of all people that were victims of this crap. So,
sure,
just throwing it out there. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this with more of a great show, and we're going to talk about coleslaw. Nah, I'm kidding. The coleslaw queen's going to be here, Susan Zacconi. We'll be back right after this.